location at the foothills of the Appalachian Mountains, bringing you the unknown. Welcome to another spine-tingling episode of Paranormal 411. Your hosts are David Reagan and Jason Scott, and together, they dive headfirst into the mysteries that lurk just beyond our understanding, featuring notable experts ready to share their insights into the world of the strange and unknown. So pull up a chair, pour a cup of something warm, and prepare to be enthralled. Here at Paranormal 411, we're not just a radio show, we're a community of truth seekers, adventurers of the mind, exploring the boundaries of the known and unknown. We invite you to join us, to share your thoughts, your experiences, your questions. Whether you've had your own encounter with the supernatural or you're simply intrigued by the inexplicable, we want to hear from you. So, don't be shy. Drop a comment and let's unravel the mysteries of the universe together. Buckle up as we journey beyond the veil of the ordinary, into the heart of the extraordinary. This is Paranormal 411, where the inexplicable meets reality and imagination takes flight. Stay tuned and remember, in the world of the paranormal, nothing is as it seems.
Well, hello.
Hello, everybody.
What's y'all doing?
I got somebody good to look at over here.
Yeah. I know you're tired of looking at us, so we brought Mr. Matt Seeber in tonight.
Yeah, Matt Seeber.
Yeah, we're going to be talking a little bit about his book, The Myth.
The Legend.
Remember, you can find us at paranormal411.org, paranormal411 on Facebook, YouTube, and X. You tune in live every Tuesday and Thursday from 7 to 8 p.m. Eastern Time, Saturdays from 8 to 10. Also, at Saturday nights from 10 to 11, if you're in the metro Atlanta area, you could catch us at WDJY-FM. That's 99.1 FM. And if you're outside of Atlanta and still want to listen to the show, you can do it. Right, Jason?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, all you have to do is go to WDJYFM.com, or you go to paranormal411.org and click the link. Take you right to it. Remember, we're on all major podcast platforms. We have our book out. Oh, Jason's got it up on the screen. Look at that. We got a book out, East Tennessee Hauntings and Lore, Edition 2. It's available on Amazon or at paranormal411.org. Join us.
Yeah, all you got to do is scan that little code right there and it'll take you right to it.
And for the holidays, we lowered the prices.
There you go.
We made it cheaper. That's a deal. You could buy 2 or 3.
So as you can see from our background, this is Matt Seeber's new book.
Yeah,
Matt
see,
Seeber
if I would... Hold on,
is
wait.
now an author.
Look, hold on, wait. There you go. See, look. By Matt Seeber.
Yep.
See?
Well, let me get where my
The other way. Yep, there you go. See?
Seeber.
There you
right
go.
There.
Oh, man. That's the man.
The man, the myth, the legend. If you don't know Matt Seeber, you're about to.
You know, since we're talking about his book, we're going to have to get him to talk about part of his book where he talks about the first time he comes and visits us.
Yes. That would be good. So I'm going to bring him on. Matt Seeber, founder of East Tennessee Bigfoot, author of Bigfoot Perspectives from the Foothills of Tennessee, great friend and confidant, Mr. Matt Seeber.
Hey, how y'all doing?
Uh-oh.
I didn't bring you on.
Hey,
Now you're here.
He's over
Here
on
I
his
am.
phone.
Well, my wife is texting me saying that the sound doesn't sound right.
uh-oh.
Sound doesn't sound right.
Yes. That's what she says. Sound doesn't sound right. We're saying it in our best.
This only happens when I'm here, right?
No, not recently. It's happened.
This program, it's going. It's on there.
Yeah, it's
It's
going.
on. It's on there. I think it's because I was talking away from a microphone, so you could hear the echo.
Yeah. Right.
You know, I think that's what it was.
Probably.
I think it was my fault. Anyway, on with the Matt. That's what everybody's here to see anyway.
Yeah.
That's,
So, Matt, we went to Eddie's over at Legends and Lore.
Oh, yeah. Wow. Yeah, always.
Got some wings, got some pizza.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, that's really the only reason I came. Honestly.
I don't blame you. I would. That'd be the only reason. It was like,
This is-
it's only
This
a
is
couple
the
miles.
excuse I used to come to the bunker. So yeah, it's just a great place to eat. You guys are missing out if you don't go to the trouble of going there. But yeah,
Absolutely.
I think it's kind of a ritual. If I get to come down here and talk to these guys, we got to go eat pizza at Eddie's first. Legends and Lore in Madisonville.
The best pizza
Yeah.
Ever.
Awesome. Only Oscar says it sounds good. Eddie's on. He says, hey.
Hey, Eddie.
Michelle,
What's up?
only
Michelle?
Oscars. We got Susan.
Susan. Look at that. Only Oscar's on. Look at this. Getting full.
Oh. Yeah.
It's
Okay.
going to be worldwide before too long.
You know, they say I am in syndication.
Really?
Yeah. Finding Bigfoot.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
And
Monsters and Mysteries.
remember the other day when what was it, about a month or so ago, I told you that you was on WIVK, or no, what was it? It was 103.5.
Oh, yeah.
Remember?
Yeah.
And I was like, was you just, I sat in the car and listened to the whole thing right where he was talking. And after he got done, I was like, oh, man. Hey, I just heard your interview. And he's
Yeah.
like, oh, that was like 2 months ago.
Yeah. Yeah, he probably, he put that on tape and played it again. So hey, that's fine too. I'll take all I can get of it. So
Yeah, it was cool.
yeah.
Yeah, me and the wife was in the car and was like, it's Matt. It's Matt. Mr. Seeber's on the radio.
Yeah.
103.5 WINZ.
So you're going to be on the radio too down in Atlanta, WDJY FM, probably next weekend.
Well, hello, Atlanta.
Yeah.
I hate your traffic.
It's terrible.
It is. It's terrible.
Being
And
from a
somewhere in Denver, Colorado, I don't know the name of the station or nothing.
Wow.
It's 99 point something.
I thought it was 91.9 or something.
91.9.
Something like that, yeah. That's
That's
bad,
cool.
right?
No, well, then you get used to it, and
Yeah.
you'll be spitting it off just like anything else. It's awesome that you guys are basically all across the country now. It's great.
Then we're on a cable TV station.
PBS, cable,
Comcast.
That's neat.
They see they're gonna see your lovely face.
Yes.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
Cali.
I am so sorry.
You know, I was listening to something.
What's up, Jeff?
What's up, Jeff? Today about where I want to go.
Where?
I don't want to go to California just to go to California because I really don't like California.
Yeah.
I want to go to the Redwoods.
Yes.
That's the only place I would go.
Yeah, the sequoias are beautiful
Yeah.
too. Yeah.
There's been some Bigfoot sightings
Oh
in
yeah.
the Redwoods.
Yeah. I mean, Northern California is supposed to be one of the most beautiful places around.
It's pretty.
Yeah.
We've been through there, Oregon, and up through Washington, all the way up through there, going
Right.
up 5.
Mm.
Yeah, it's beautiful up through there. Sure is.
So, Matt, for people that don't know who you are, why don't you go ahead and tell them?
Okay. Okay. Sure.
We got a couple on here. I don't know if only Oscars knows how we
Yeah.
are.
Yeah.
You are.
Right. Okay. Well, I am Matt Seeber. Once again, I'm the founder of EastTennesseeBigfoot.org. I named it org so it would sound more important. That's really the only reason. And I've been doing this since 2005. Been investigating sightings and just talking to people about Bigfoot and Bigfoot-related things. And sometimes it opens rabbit holes into other cryptids, but I usually try to stay on the Bigfoot side of things. And I've met a lot of people. I've talked to a lot of people. And I'm convinced, again, I'm not an eyewitness. I've had some things happen to me that I would consider very strange, but I'm not an eyewitness. But I know people who have been eyewitnesses, who have seen these things. And I know that my mother would have never lied to me because she was an eyewitness.
Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah, convinced of it. I know they're real. I may never see one in my lifetime, but I know they're real.
I got the fortune to see one while I was truck driving.
Yeah.
And you were the first person I texted about it.
What was that, about 2 a.m., something like
I
that?
was like,
What's that text? What's going on? That's David Reagan. He's out in Pacific Northwest. What's going on? Oh, he saw a Sasquatch.
Yeah,
That's
across the front of
interesting.
me. What's amazing about that, though, is that, I mean, you hear people talking about it all the time.
Oh, yeah.
and about how big they are, but also how agile and how fast they are.
Right.
Well, it's hard to really take that into perspective until you actually see one.
Yeah.
And, when this thing come up from the center of the road and to cross the two lanes of interstate and then go back up the other side.
Yeah.
And he was only about 4 car lengths in front of me and was able to do that before I could make it to where he was.
Yeah.
He was moving.
Yeah, there's something about I've heard people say it was like a gliding motion. They're so agile and fast. Yeah. They're just so fast. For something to be that big and be so fast, that's frightening.
That's
even
very athletic.
Yeah.
And it was like 3 steps.
Oh yeah, from the middle of the road where you started to see it to where it was off the road and up the hill.
Yeah, because I saw him come onto the side of the road.
Okay, 1 step.
Yeah, it was like one, and off the road.
Yeah. Okay, sounds about right. How fast do you think it was moving? Or was it just leisurely jogging across the road?
Yeah, it doesn't look like it was, sprinting.
Right.
It looked like it was just kind of like, there's a car coming.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I was doing 65. That's the speed limit down through there.
Right.
And that thing was able to move from one side of the interstate. Now I'm in the slow lane. This thing was able to go from the ditch in the fast lane.
Right.
Come all the way over in front of me and up the hill before I could even get to it.
Yeah.
That fast.
Yeah, that's quick.
That sounds like that thing I seen cross the road out here on Corinth Road.
He's laughing.
No,
Yeah.
I'm serious.
Yeah, I'm serious. This happened. Yeah.
This happened to me, but it wasn't a Sasquatch. It was about 6 foot tall, completely naked guy. I was going to work about 3 a.m. Probably had to do inventory or something. And I was coming down the hill there. You know where that person that has all them lights in their yard and everything?
Yeah.
Somebody just ran across the road. I mean, he was completely naked.
Oh, they call it the street.
Yeah. That was my only sighting of it.
I've got Littlefoot.
I've got a neighbor.
Bare naked Littlefoot.
Wasn't long after they moved in. They like to party a little bit too heavy sometimes. And I was up putting the garbage in my truck on a Saturday morning, and he was walking down the road beside my house. All he had on was a pair of boots and a bathrobe. Said, "You had an interesting night, didn't you, pal?" "Oh, yeah. I don't remember how I even got up here." So, okay. Dude, be careful.
Just have a bathrobe on it.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this guy was going from neighbor to neighbor or something.
Okay.
Yeah, it was pretty weird.
He lost a bet, and unfortunately, you're the one who got to see it.
Yeah,
that's it.
It's, now you got to strip naked and run out in front of the next car that comes by.
Yeah.
3 o'clock
Hello,
morning.
Kimberly.
Hello.
Hello.
That's where I'd be going 90 to make sure I got away. That's
So,
funny.
Matt, can you tell us about your book?
Tell us. So
Ask questions about the book because it's been a while and I've not been able to reread it because I find all my mistakes.
don't you hate that?
I do. I hate it. I should have spelled that different, or I should have put a comma there.
With this one right here, we thought we'd done really, really well. And we got this not for sale one, right? This is the proofread one where you get it in and you just make sure all the pages are perfect and stuff like that. We start going through this one and we found 30 or so more changes we had to make.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And we were like, oh my God.
Yeah.
We thought we was going to have the book out.
And I think there's still a couple of mistakes in there, but
Well, I mean, it goes par for the course. I mean, this is my first and only book I've ever written, and I mean, I've not done anything like that since high school, and I think I make maybe high C's, low B's in English class. So
you did better than me.
Yeah, so I did
high F's and low B's.
I did
English was not my favorite subject.
low F's. You know what? This is no lie. I took English 1 3 times.
Wow.
And then I had to take a correspondence course just to graduate English.
Man.
It's the accent, Jason. It really
Probably.
is.
Susan says you need to bring some books there and have a book signing.
Yeah, I would do that. Yeah, I'd do that if there was a real interest to do that. I mean,
Who's not interested in Matt?
yeah,
Not only Matt Seeber, but come on.
Not a lot of people know about me. I mean, really.
Come on, man.
Everybody I know knows you.
That's because we hang in the same circle around this stuff, so that's all good. But yeah, I wouldn't mind doing that if they were willing to let me. I mean,
It's a good book.
I mean, it's pizza place too. So
Yeah. I mean, you'd always have something to eat and drink.
yeah.
Yeah.
You can stay there all day. So what made you want to write it?
Well, I'd always had an interest in writing a book, not necessarily Bigfoot, but that was the only thing I really had any kind of real opinionated ideas about, really.
Mm-hmm.
And my wife she's always on to me. You should write a book. You should write a book. And then there were people on Facebook. I used to write this little blog on Sunday mornings, and people said, "You should write a book. You should write a book. You should write a book. You really get your point across." Oh, okay. And finally, I just started playing around with it, and I would start and I would stop. I would start and I would stop, and I really didn't know how to go into it. I was trying to be sort of scientific without being scientific, because I'm not a scientist.
Right.
But a gentleman named C.L. Gammon from Fayetteville, Tennessee, a person that I had actually appeared on one of his podcasts years ago. I didn't even remember him. I did a Bigfoot podcast with him, and he contacted me and asked me if I would be interested in writing a book. He owns a publishing company called Deep Read Press, and he was looking for something a little bit more off the wall, paranormal kind of thing. And for whatever reason, I came to his mind, and he contacted me through email. And I told him that I had been working off and on this book for probably a year or two and never really getting anywhere with it. Mm-hmm. And that call kind of motivated me. I thought, okay, this guy's interested in a possibility. So, yeah, okay. He said, "Well, how soon can you have it done?" And I said, maybe, he contacted me maybe in February or March.
Mm-hmm.
I said, I may be able to have you 100 pages. I mean, I don't know how far this is going to go, but I can probably have you something by the end of June. Well, it turned out to be closer to the end of July. But I submitted it to his company, and they had to proofread it, and they had to accept it before they published it. Right. Because they have criteria that every book's got to meet.
Right.
They don't do science fiction, and they don't do anything that's what you would call risque in any way like that. Gotcha. And they read it and make sure that what I'm portraying and I'm trying to bring across is not anything that would be negative.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So he told me that up front, and I did my level best to make it informative and a little bit fun. And I got an email back from him a few days after I sent it all to him. And by the way, Wendy, who's in my group, she took the photograph on the front page and let me use it for my book. And I mean, Wendy Arms, she's not only is she an incredible person, she's an incredible photographer. Yeah. For amateur photographer. She's really got some really nice stuff. I had to choose between 4 pictures, and I chose that one. So, but anyway, I had to get permission from her to use the photo, and I had to write up a little bit of something like an introduction kind of thing, and then I had the book, and I sent it all in through PDF files, and he came back with me 3 days later and said, "We have accepted your book. We are going to publish your book."
Wow.
And after they published it and put it on Amazon, he come back, "Congratulations, you are now a published author." And I thought, that sounds pretty good. That really sounds good. I mean, I've done something. Right. And I've done something that may outlive me, even though it's not a very big book. And, some people may not like it. Some people might. But it's something that I did. And I'm really glad of it. I won't say I'm proud. I try not to be a proud human being. But I'm really thankful that I was able to do it. So, and I'm just tickled that, we're talking about, we're not just talking about the things that I think and the things that I've done. Right. I've got a book
Yes.
That makes me sound a little more important.
Yes.
But yeah, it was really fun.
I got that on my resume.
Published
you can put
author.
it on your resume.
Yeah. I told my boss I was a published author, and he just looked at me, his jaw dropped. What do you mean? You're a published author? I mean, I'm working in a manufacturing environment, and I'm doing my thing, and then I come up to him, I say, hey, guess what? I just got my first book published. He looked at me and said, I bet it's about Bigfoot. I said, yeah.
You got it. How
did you know? Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but what about, I'm working in the mushroom business.
Okay.
Go to mine, which he's retiring next week. Say, me and David are published authors now. Hey, David knows him too, so
yeah.
He's like, wow, man, that's great. I said, and I'm working on my doctorate too, for metaphysical science.
Oh goodness.
I've got the bachelor's, still working on a doctorate, and they're just so impressed by all.
Oh yeah.
Because I'm in the mushroom business.
Yeah. It means something.
It does.
Yeah,
it makes you stand out.
It's the ordinary folks that can get this stuff. Yeah, you don't have to be some brainiac to do this kind of stuff. It's really easy. You just have an idea in your head and you put it to pen and paper, I guess,
and do it.
Or what's it called? Word or something. And just
Excel.
type it down.
Word.
Excel.
You could actually go and download a template for whatever size book you want and just start typing it in there.
Yeah.
That's what we did.
And Amazon makes it so easy to self-publish.
Yeah.
Even, I didn't self-publish because I wanted some proofreading.
Right.
I wanted to make sure that it was going to be pleasing enough to me where I didn't feel so bad about it. But still, like I say, I can't read it very much at all until I find a mistake in the spelling or the pronunciation, and it just drives me insane. I don't want to be that person, but I am. I mean, I'm high school educated, so.
Right.
Bird dog's in the house.
What's up, bird dog? Jason said that was him, or Roger said that was him. He likes to party naked.
Oh yeah, across the road.
So, I know on one part of the book you talk about meeting us for the first time back in 2012.
Yeah.
And that was awesome.
Yeah, I had to bring that up. That was just, and of course I did send that little snippet to you guys for approval. I didn't want to.
I loved it.
Yeah, I just remember it so well. I remember, Kim, somebody is wanting me to do a podcast, and they're in a bunker, and I don't know if I should go. This is a bunker. Remember, this is a bunker. And I don't know if I should go, but if I go, I want to give you the address. So if I disappear, you'll know where to find me, or at least you'll know where the criminals are. Because really, nobody had ever approached me about anything like this, and I was coming to basically a stranger's home. To do this, and when I got here, I kept thinking, okay, these guys are going to hit me over the head and rob me and throw me out of the Loudon Dam, and I'm going to be dead and nobody will ever find me again. And I was just that kind of person. And I still am, really. I've got to be I got to know somebody a little bit more better before I do that. That's why I do enjoy doing podcasts from a distance. That's not such a big deal anymore for me. But once I got down here and got with you guys, started talking to you guys, it's been a blast. I appreciate you guys. You're friends of mine.
Yes.
And I always want to be on Paranormal 411 because it's sentimental. It's sentimental to me that you guys gave me my first shot, and I was really nobody in 2012. I had no.
You gave us our first shot. You were our very first person.
To us, you were top dog. Because I remember David telling me, "Oh my gosh," he said yes.
He said yes. Because I'm the one who sent the email out and everything. And then when you said yes, I was like, Jason. He said yes.
I don't.
We were excited.
Yeah, I don't get it. I really don't. It don't make sense to me. But anyway, okay, I'll take your word. But yeah,
that's good. He's coming.
Yeah, everywhere we go, it's the bunker.
Yeah.
We was on Ferry Street at that time. You remember?
Yeah, we were. Yeah.
Down in the bunker sewers.
Yeah. In an unknown location.
Yeah.
In a bunker in the Appalachian Mountains.
That's right.
That's awesome. I love that.
Rory says, "Run, Matt. Run while you can."
I don't think I'm not too concerned anymore. But yeah.
There's video evidence. Matt is alive and well.
Yeah, I made it. 12 years later, I'm here. So
That's crazy. It's been that long ago.
yeah.
It has been.
That's when we were using
Project Dark Corona.
Dark Corona.
Yeah, we know how that had to change, don't we?
Uh-huh.
That was shameful. Really, it was. You have to change the name of your program because of some virus.
Yeah, I know. I was like, we're cool before that.
Yeah.
Then nothing.
We were running off of Optilex
Yeah.
desktop and a big board.
I've still got it.
Yeah.
I've still got the original board
Yeah.
that we had. This thing is like this big.
We had wires running everywhere. It looked like a science project.
Build your own board.
Yeah.
Actually, I bought that board from Radio Shack, so that tells you how old that is.
Yeah, there is no Radio Shack, is there?
Nope.
Are they online still, or they're just gone?
I think they're gone. They might be online.
I don't know.
Yeah. It's
But
been.
that was one that was in Lenore City.
Yeah.
Before it closed down, I bought that board.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been years since I've even thought about that place. So
Radio Shack.
Radio
So
Shack.
back to the book.
Yes, sir.
You got some like stories in there from people, right?
You're right. Yeah, there's several stories I tried to share. I tried to share every story that my family members encountered, just to give some backdrop as to why I do what I do. Of course, it started with my oldest son having an encounter in our backyard in Roane County. I had no idea it was going to take me to this point. And again, when it first happened, I just thought he was pulling my leg. But, the more I got into it, the more I started talking to people around the neighborhood, and they saw things and they'd heard things. And then that one night when I was out on the back porch smoking and something whistled at me that sounded just like it came off of one of Ron Moorhead's recordings.
Really?
Yeah. And it really solidified that. But then I guess the real thing that really got to me, and of course I've said this to other people before, I'm not 100% sure this actually happened. It could have been my imagination, but I don't believe it was. It was very profound, very intrusive. I was laying in the bed one night, the same summer all this went down, and my eyes were closed, and I got this voice came into my head and said, "I am here." And I've told you guys this before, but with that came a vision in my mind of these two huge black eyes. And it was like it was looking straight at me and just saying, "I'm here." It only said it one time. It was not my voice. Whatever it was not my voice. Again, it was English.
Right.
It was perfectly understood, but it was not my voice. And that's the one thing that stuck to me more than anything that made me want to keep looking into this. And I was still at the point where I wasn't sure what Bigfoot was. I was still probably at the very first rung of the ladder where it is an unknown primate.
Right.
Yeah. And again, I want to say that and emphasize to those who are listening that in the scientific community, if you walk on two legs and you don't have a tail, you are a primate.
Right.
So I'm using primate very loosely.
Right.
Because that's just the way science calls it.
Yep.
And an unknown primate that is flesh and blood and is just simply unknown and hasn't been seen, hasn't been verified by science. I was there, and in the past, 2005, almost 20 years later, my mind has completely changed. I don't know what they are. I don't know who they are, but they are definitely not simply an unknown flesh and blood primate. They are not. There's too much going on with that. They may have abilities that we don't understand. There may be a supernatural aspect to that, and or paranormal. Let's use the word paranormal for a minute. I know a lot of these guys here, they do paranormal stuff. I've got a lot of friends that are into the paranormal, ghost hunting, strange things like that. But technically, we have to understand in the English language, paranormal only means not ordinary.
That's right.
When you say paranormal, it doesn't mean it's a ghost.
That's right.
We have to be able to distinguish it as people, that it just means that it's not normal.
Yep.
Now, I'm going to tell you, Bigfoot's not normal.
Yes.
And I'm not saying he's some kind of dimensional being, even though I lean that way personally.
Mm-hmm.
I believe he's dimensional as well as flesh and blood. He is flesh and blood wherever he is in the dimensions,
Mm-hmm.
and he is able to hide himself from us right in front of us. They can hide, they can disappear at will,
Mm-hmm.
and that may be. And I mentioned this in the book as well. I mentioned that this may be something that is caused by their ability to produce infrasound. I do believe that with all my heart at this point in the game. They can do things to manipulate our minds
Mm-hmm.
and to freak us out to the point where we're scared to death and we have to get out of the woods even though we've not seen anything, or they use some sort of higher vibration that causes our bodies to malfunction. They cause us to be blurry, have visions, pass out. They can probably do more with their mind than we ever dreamed of doing. Now, we know there are people out there that can do things.
Mm-hmm.
I know people that have these abilities.
Mm-hmm.
And I was mentioning to David earlier this evening, everyone I talk to, I try to get this information from them, whether or not they have sort of an empathic power, some sort of medium power, that kind of thing, ESP, out of the ordinary abilities. And a lot of times, most of the time, the people who contact me with an encounter and what they see, they have some sort of ability, or someone in their family has some sort of a psychic ability. And as David mentioned, they may just, if they are attracted to people like that.
Yeah.
And I find that a very intriguing possibility.
I think for sure, because at a young age, at the age of 3, when spirits used to be in my bedroom when I'd wake up every morning and everything, there'd be people standing in my room, just standing there.
Mm-hmm.
That's what freaked me out. It wasn't that they were ghosts, because I couldn't see through them. They just looked like real people just standing in my room.
Mm-hmm.
Just no one else could see them. And, over the years of thinking about why can't I see some things that other people can't see,
Mm-hmm.
is it the fact that there's something about me having the ability to do that draws them to me or lets them know that I can?
Yeah.
Because I also believe that they can make it to where I can't see them
Mm-hmm.
at the same time. They can say, "Oh, he can see me."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that friend that I mentioned earlier in the evening, she knows that she has these abilities. And when she was doing things that were a little bit off-putting as far as what she would consider now as living a better life,
Right.
she found that every entity that could see her would come to her.
Right.
And start talking to her and begging her to tell my mama this, tell my brother this,
Yep.
tell someone
When she
on
was on the
this
show,
side.
she talked about a lot of that.
Yeah. I mean, they would just come up to her in droves, and it was driving her nuts.
Yes.
I can imagine. I can only imagine what's going on there.
Okay.
I don't know who or what these entities were, but she believes they were the dead
Mm-hmm.
people who. And she definitely has those kind of abilities. Whether or not it's a great thing or whether it's a good or thing or it's a nightmarish thing, I don't know. That's up to her to believe. I don't know. But
I never thought, as a kid, I didn't think it was fun.
Yeah.
At all. It was scary.
Mm-hmm.
I never had the auditory part, though.
Yeah.
It was only visual.
Mm-hmm.
I'd never had anything talk to me.
Yeah.
Never. I never have.
Right.
I could see them,
Mm-hmm.
but that's it.
Yeah.
Unless they mimed it to me, it wouldn't help me out any.
Right.
But I could definitely see them.
Yeah.
It's interesting when you told the story, you laying in a bed and heard that you said it wasn't your voice.
Right.
That's when you talk to yourself, you hear your voice.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's weird.
When I think, I'm
Yeah.
thinking in my own voice.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what sets it apart.
Yeah. The strange thing, is too, though, I have an idea of what I sound like, but when I listen to this recording,
Yeah.
my gosh,
Is that
that's
what I sound
terrible.
like? Yeah.
That certainly sounds like.
When I listen to
I've had to go through that a lot. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I listen to the show, just like I'm a big hick. Country.
Well, I was alluding to that earlier about the English class.
You know, I do get my point across, but it may be a little scrambled.
Yeah, that's
A
okay.
little hickish, but
We understand.
we live in the sticks.
Yeah, we know all about it.
I've got the deep voice.
Yes, you do. Yeah. I'd have to start smoking cigarettes to get that or something.
Oh,
no.
what a fun show.
Oh, yeah.
No deep voice here. What is that? Roy says they're both demons disguised as humans doing a podcast.
That's kind of rude, isn't it?
That's funny. Roy.
So, yeah, it's just, it's a very fascinating topic.
Yeah.
A lot of people, they're just not willing to, most people, they just don't want to believe it's real.
Right.
And it's just like a lot of things, especially in this day and age. If the mainstream media isn't telling you it's real,
Right.
it's not real.
Well, and that going along with that too, right? So it wasn't that long ago when something come on mainstream media will say about UFOs
Mm-hmm.
or their new acronym UAP.
Yeah.
It was all done with music
Yeah.
and
Mhm.
it was made fun of. Right now, they're having hearings on it,
Yeah.
and it's serious, and it actually makes the nightly news.
Yeah.
And it's actually in people's vocabulary now to talk about it.
Yeah.
And so it's funny how, like you just said, that if it's not on the night news, then it's
Yeah.
pseudoscience
Right.
is a term they like to throw out,
Right.
right? And they like to make fun of the crazy people with the tinfoil hats that are over here
Yeah.
running through the woods looking for something that don't even exist.
Right. Right.
But there's too much anecdotal evidence for it.
Yeah.
Wait,
Yeah.
dude, just on that side, just the sheer number of people who have the sightings,
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
including the footprints
Right.
and the DNA and
Right.
all the other things that they have gathered.
It amazes me how funny it is that people can't accept those kinds of things when, okay, let's say, for example, you hear your back door rattling one night, but then it stops, and then you get up in the morning and you see somebody's glove print on a window.
Hmm.
Oh, somebody's trying to break into my house. Well, how do you know?
Yeah, right.
How do you know that?
I didn't see it.
You didn't see it happen.
Yeah.
And that's, if you see a 13-inch track or an 18-inch track or 16.5-inch track, such as the ones I've seen,
Yeah.
you start questioning, well, what made that?
Right.
And I actually had one person tell me one time these people are walking around in the woods and they're just taking their feet or their hands and their feet and they're digging this place out. Dude, this is 5 miles from anywhere. How is anybody going to even see what you've done?
Yeah.
So, they do it beforehand. Now, yeah, I believe that there's a lot of hoaxes out there.
Yes.
And we've come to a point in our technology where hoax is easy.
Yeah.
And just about every photo and every video I look at today on Bigfoot, I can't say.
Yeah.
Because I don't know. I showed you guys a photograph this evening down at Legends and Lore.
Yeah.
I can't say for sure, but it looks legit to me.
It does. Yeah. It looks
It's-
like a real photograph.
Yeah.
Doesn't look like it's AI created or anything like that,
Yeah, and I'm thinking, okay, this person shares this with me and tells me what all took place and how it was taken and all this kind of stuff. And I look at that, and of course, I've got a member of the group. He's supposed to be running it through filters, trying to get it clear, trying to make it because it is vague.
Yeah.
Okay, I won't deny that.
What's
It's
a nice
vague.
photograph for sure?
Yeah, and there's I can't share it. It's not my photo.
Right.
I've shown it to some people. I've shown it to the people in my group, but it's not something I'm going to release. The person that owns the photo can release it if they wish to. I always try to be respectful of other people, and I know that makes a lot of people upset too.
Well,
Because why don't you just show us the picture, you idiot?
yeah.
Well, I can. It's not my picture.
Right.
If I take the picture, you'll see it. There's no doubt.
It'll be on your Facebook. It'll
Yeah,
be everywhere.
it'll be my cover photo. There's no way around it.
What if they posted it on their Facebook? Then would you share it?
I probably would still ask if I could send a link or share it, or so. I would have to do that because there was one time on my Facebook Bigfoot page, the one that by the way, it's got over 10,000 likes.
Woo!
That blows my mind.
That's fantastic.
It is. It just okay. Thank you all for that. But I I posted a picture. Somebody sent a photo to me, and you've probably seen it. I can't describe it to you. But it's just a large black figure walking across in front of a game camp.
Mm-hmm.
And I wrote in the comment or the text, a friend sent this to me, said it was from Upper East Tennessee. What do y'all think?
Mm-hmm.
Next day, I got this scathing comment from some dude from North Carolina. That's not from Tennessee. That's the camera that we took the picture on, and blah, blah, blah. They were angry with me because I posted their picture. Now, they posted it too.
Right.
But I had no idea where it come from because I'd never seen it before.
Right.
So I apologized to him. I said, dude, somebody sent it to me. I just posted it asking the question. I'll take it down immediately. He said, oh, no. You don't have to do that. Just make sure they know where it came from. So I went back up and I rearranged it, and all was cool. Right. I get that. So, again, I won't post anything from anybody else unless it's already been released.
Right.
Now, I don't do that. The few pictures I have released that someone has given me, I went so far as to putting a watermark on them so they couldn't be taken and called someone else's.
Right.
So that's something that's real. It's happening all the time. I mentioned to you about your inventions.
Yeah.
So you've got to protect your inventions. You got to protect your what is it called?
Brainchild.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, intellectual property.
Yeah.
Yeah. You've got to protect that stuff.
Right.
And even these photographs that people take or these videos, I mean, you've got to protect yourself on them, or somebody else will claim them as their own.
Right.
And again, I'm not out every day taking pictures. I don't do that kind of thing.
We got a photo of yours right here.
Of mine? One of mine?
Mm-hmm. The footprint.
Oh, the footprint. 16 and a half inches long?
Yeah, let's talk about that one. That was in Clinton. Is that where you got this?
Is that in the daytime?
Yes.
In a piece of the...
It has grass around it and stuff.
Okay.
You can see it.
I looked at that. It was small.
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe 7.5 inches. Okay. That's small. Now, the alleged creature that the gentleman saw was huge. So I can't say. And I even told, even on the Facebook page, I mentioned, say, look, I don't know if this is a pic of a track or not. It looks kind of like a track, but I don't know. And then, of course, I had a lot of people chime in and say, oh, it's not a track. That's silly. That's not a track. Well, I just told you I didn't know if it was a track.
Right.
But I wanted people to see it. So...
Looks like a track to me.
It looks like a track.
It looks like it does look like a foot.
Yeah, but I don't know. I didn't see any toe marks for real or anything.
I mean, the ground looks like it's kind of compacted. So
yeah. Well, I thought of it. Okay, it's been there a while.
Right.
It was put there when it was wet, and now it's dry.
Yeah.
But at the same time,
some of the definition.
You're gonna lose the definition. But at the same time, it was only roughly 7 inches long. So that really made me very skeptical of it being a track.
But maybe what the guy didn't see was a juvenile that was with it.
It could have been. There may be more than one there. And this picture was taken in a trench. I won't say it wasn't a deep trench, but there's like a small, maybe 3 foot wide, 3 foot deep creek basically that runs behind this dude's house and under a culvert, under a driveway, and then on out, and then it goes down over across the road into a bigger creek. Well, when the thing walked away, and I guess he was 75 yards from it, and this being was walking away from him, and he could see it in the security light next door on the street lights, basically, and its head was bobbing above the speed limit sign that was right there on the side of the road. I measured that thing, and it was over 7 feet tall. So, and it was walking away in a downhill.
Wow.
So whatever he saw was huge.
Over 7 foot.
Over 7 feet tall.
Wow.
And it just walked over into the woods, and it was gone. And I don't know what to say about it. I mean, I don't think that track that I took the picture of, if it is a track, was its track.
Right.
Regardless.
Right. Yeah, because you'd think something like that would definitely have a much bigger foot.
Yeah, absolutely.
Otherwise, it would be hurting all the time.
Yeah. It wouldn't be good. It wouldn't be good. Yeah. Constantly. You'd be looking for some clown shit.
That's right.
So, it's just...
I figured little because my mama only kept me in a size 5 shoes my whole life.
You're sounding like the water boy there for a second. But you still start talking about alligators brushing their teeth. That's good. But yeah, it's just you gotta. Like I say, when I first started doing this, everything was a Bigfoot.
Right.
Everything in the woods I see, broken tree limbs, the noises, everything was Bigfoot,
Yes.
and that's just not the case. I'm probably more skeptical now than I've ever been. So
Living where I live, having over 400 acres behind me,
right,
I could sit out on my porch. I could hear what sounds like elephants running in the woods,
yeah,
and it's freaking squirrels.
oh yeah,
They are loud little things,
Mhm.
you know, and they'll sit there and be playing and running up trees and running
Yeah.
back down trees and
Yeah.
running across things. And you would think it was a 200-pound something
That's
running
right,
through there,
right.
you know. And so I could see how it'd be easy if you're not used to the sounds of the area that you're in
Mhm.
to say, oh, that's got to be Bigfoot.
Yeah.
Because I don't see anything, but I hear something heavy,
Right.
you know.
Hmm.
So, I mean, you know, I could see how someone could draw that conclusion.
Right.
But I think it goes back to, if you're going to do it, it's really good to get familiar with your environment,
Mhm.
you know, and know what animals are out there.
Yeah.
What kind of sounds they make.
Yeah, a perfect example of that is there was a farm a friend of mine had, and he would allow me to fish it, and the farm was a farm, of course. I wasn't fishing the farm, but there was a large creek near the farm, and I could walk from one side all the way down and around the corner. The creek surrounded his farm, and it's a deep creek, real good catfishing.
Hmm.
And me and the wife, of course, we would go, and then me and a son, or we'd go down there and we'd set up late at night. Didn't have any lights on or anything, just using flashlights on our heads and stuff. And there was one night we were sitting there just as quiet as it could be, and all of a sudden, just a big slap. Sounded like this huge rock just came through on the water. Okay, now I've heard stories of Bigfoot throwing rocks.
Yes.
I turned the light on, and there's a beaver.
Ah.
He saw us and slapped his tail.
Yes.
So I knew from that point on, we can't take those big slaps too seriously.
Yes.
Now, if it
Yeah.
sounds like a kaboom,
Yeah.
that might be different. But this was
Yes.
just, and it scared me. I didn't know beavers did that. I didn't know beavers were on that creek, honestly.
Right.
I mean, this is East Tennessee, and
Yeah.
at that point in my life, I'd never given beavers much thought.
Yeah.
But there he was, and he wasn't happy that we were there.
Yeah.
And he started smacking his tail. Okay, buddy, I'm sorry we're here to bother you. We don't mean you any harm.
Right.
So yeah, it's things like that. We get kind of flustered about stuff. We get, I don't know, we get excited about things like that. But like I say, there just comes a point when you have to realize that your imagination begins to run away with you when it comes to things like
Yep.
this.
Yep.
And you have to really take yourself back and take a real good look at things, because again, I've had people call me, I've had people send me pictures, I've had all this kind of stuff, and that was the biggest bunch of bunk I ever saw in my life.
Yeah.
The one gentleman, and I had a great deal of respect for the man, older gentleman,
Uh-huh.
and I didn't mean in any way to hurt his feelings, because I believe he sincerely saw what he saw.
Right.
But he sent me 4 or 5 CDs. He was from Upper East Tennessee, and this before all this digital stuff really got big and heavy.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, you need to send me some photographs. He sent me probably 6 compact discs in the mail, and they were full of pictures. And the only picture that looked strange to me is there was a handprint on his deck that was large.
Mm-hmm.
But then he had these other pictures of his apple orchard and these things standing in his apple orchard. And he was describing them as being short with no hair except up around their upper body.
Mm-hmm.
From the waist down, they had no hair or anything like that. And they were just standing there under the apple tree. And this is how he was explaining it to me on the phone. This was a phone call. This wasn't even email. And I got these CDs and I started looking through these, and I thought, oh my gosh, what am I going to tell this guy? They were very poor pictures,
Mm-hmm.
poor quality, but every one of them was the front of a deer.
Mm-hmm.
You couldn't see its neck up,
Mm-hmm.
but you could see its chest to the ground.
Yeah.
You couldn't see its feet.
Gotcha.
There was a dark color under
Yes.
its neck. And then,
Yeah, the white.
yeah, you had it, brown, light tan
Mm-hmm.
hair looked like it was naked to him.
Mm-hmm.
And I contacted him and I said, look, I'm sorry. That handprint on your deck is interesting. I find that compelling. But these pictures you sent me are deer, and they're just eating your apples.
Yeah.
And I never heard anything from him again. I didn't want to hurt his feelings. Yeah, and that's, I don't want to do that kind of thing.
Right.
And then of course there's another fella that contacts me from time to time. I believe he is having activity near his property, but there was one night where something was happening to one of his video cameras he puts up on his garage. It was getting flipped over, and every now and then you'd see some hair getting flipped over. Always the same direction, always the same thing. And I didn't get with him on this, but I personally think it was a raccoon.
That's what I was just about to say.
I mean,
it's a raccoon.
Yeah, I asked him, I said, your eaves open on your garage? And he said, yeah. I said, well, I think you got I didn't tell him, but I thought he had a raccoon climbing up the wall right there where the camera is. And every time it snuck in or squeezed through the eave, it was knocking the camera out of whack.
Yep.
So we have to try to eliminate everything before we go to Bigfoot.
Yeah.
Unless it's obvious.
Right. Yeah, you get those a full picture, face and all.
Yeah.
All right. We got something to talk about.
Yeah.
But the blob squatches, there's millions of them out there.
Yeah, and more likely than not, anybody that takes a picture of one, that's what they're going to get.
Yeah. Pareidolia runs strong and goes.
Mm-hmm. And again, I've shared that with you too. The idea I had with that, I think a lot of the pareidolia that we get now, before we had digital cameras, you didn't see a lot of that.
Right.
You had a photograph, you could look at the mountains and you saw trees.
Right.
Now when you look at a mountainside, you see faces.
Yeah.
I think it's a facial recognition software.
Right.
I really do. I think that's causing more of it than anything.
Right.
Because it's trying to find faces for us to look at.
Right.
It's pixelated. It changes the way things look. And if you just...
And that's another thing. Digital cameras and stuff do tend, if they're not high resolution or something, to pixelate.
Yeah.
Especially when you're trying to get in there and get smaller.
Right.
You'll get those big blocky pixels.
Yeah.
And then pareidolia can kick in.
Yeah, absolutely.
You get the blocky pixels, and then you get the shading, different shadings and stuff.
Right.
Your mind is meant to look for. That's what we look for, is patterns.
Yeah.
And pattern recognition. That's what our brain does.
Yeah.
And it seeks those out, and when it says boom, it's like, have you ever been sitting down and there'd be wood, and all of a sudden you start seeing a face in the wood?
Yeah.
It's like, I've been sitting here in this chair for 30 years, and I just looked at that, and now I see a face look at me.
Yeah.
Now, every time I sit down,
I can find faces in
face
vinyl floors.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're there. I mean, there's one at work in the bathroom. It looks like Abe Lincoln.
What's up, Abe?
I'm serious.
Yeah.
To me, it looks like Abe Lincoln.
Right.
It might not look like anything to anyone else. But that's the way our minds work.
Yes.
We're looking for things that are familiar.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And again, people are seeing things that maybe aren't even there. I really wish that I knew how to go about an old school camera that uses film.
Yeah.
And get back into that style
of
taking photographs in the woods.
Yeah.
Because again, I'm just not sure what these digital cameras are trying to show us.
Right.
They have their own mind when it comes to the programs that are used to make these pictures work.
Yeah.
And,
you can bypass them
and
go into manual modes.
Right.
And actually set the settings on them almost like what you do with the manual focus and stuff.
Right.
So you can do a lot of that stuff with them, but you got to know what you're doing to do that.
Right.
You got to take them out of autofocus and all of that other stuff.
I just point and shoot.
Yeah.
And most people, if they're using their phones in the woods or wherever else, if they get a decent shot of a Bigfoot, it's probably going to be 50 to 100 yards away, and you're already into that pixelation.
My phone does the same thing. I could go into manual modes on this phone and actually open irises up and do different things on this phone like you could on an actual really nice digital phone.
Right.
Or camera, I mean. If a lot of phones nowadays, if you could get into them, you actually go into the settings, you could actually set them manually.
Right.
And actually set all of the stuff in there just like you would if you had a nice telephotic lens and everything.
Yeah.
You can do them on these now, but
Okay.
you just got to not just do this.
You got to have a little bit of expertise in that kind of thing. You got to
Just
dig in it and look for it.
That's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Just have a mind that likes to figure puzzles out.
I need to crash in mine. I'm sure I hit the wrong button somewhere. So
That's what reset's for. That's what I used to tell bought my wife a computer a long time ago, and she's like, "Oh God, I'm gonna crash it. I'm gonna do all this stuff." I said, "There's nothing you can't do to that computer that I can't fix."
Yeah.
So play with it. Play with it.
Yeah.
This is how you turn it on. This is how you turn it off. Play with it.
Right.
And so she finally got used to it, but they're easy.
Yeah.
To build and to create and make. That right, Jason?
Oh yeah.
That's what he got his first degree in, was computers.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're smarter than anybody thought you was.
Yeah, he just talks
Smarter than you let on.
he just talks like a hick.
Yeah, it's just a talk. It's a disguise.
It is.
Yeah.
It's his facade.
It's a diversion.
That's it.
That's all it is.
But no, but I mean, with Bigfoot though, I mean, you kind of told us where you lean,
Mhm.
kind of to that woo side.
Oh, absolutely.
Now, how was it though? How did you rationalize yourself? Because you started out pretty die hard, flesh and blood.
I won't say die hard, but I was.
Pretty.
I was just status quo
Right.
because I started studying it,
Got you.
and I was reading Jeff Meldrum, and I was reading some of these people who are straight up unknown primate.
Yes.
And I'm going to that extent and doing all that kind of stuff. And
How was the swing to the other side when you went to the dark side?
podcasts had a lot to do with it.
Did it?
Yeah, listening to specific Bigfoot podcasts, some of the more famous ones where these people were talking about this stuff, and especially episode 515 of Sasquatch Chronicles.
Yeah.
That really opened my eyes to some things. And also just talking to people about what they're experiencing and trying to figure out, how does this happen? I have a member in our organization. Her and her family went to Cades Cove, and they went up at the end of Cades Cove, where you got that visitor center. There is a road that goes to the right and goes up on in there, and I don't remember what it's called, but it's a gravel road. Mm-hmm. It's been closed for a while, but I think it was recently reopened, and you can drive up through there. I don't know how far it goes, but I don't think I've ever been up through there. But her and her family went up through there, and she was doing a panorama with her phone, and she was going around 360s with her phone, and she would come to a specific point in the woods. Her phone would completely glitch out. It would just glitch out. And then after she moved a little farther, it would come right back. She'd go all the way around 360 again and come right back to that point, and it would glitch. There was something stopping that camera from doing that. And while they were there looking around, they found a really large track under a tree.
Really?
Yes, in Cades Cove. Now, this has been, I don't really know how long. It's been at least, I want to say 10 years since this happened. Maybe not. If they ever listen to this, they might set me straight on when.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, they took a plaster cast of this bad boy, and they showed it to me. Now, it was broken in two pieces because of how big it was, but it was, I want to say it was pushing 18 inches long.
Holy smokes.
Yeah, but what really got me was the digital camera thing. Now, that tells me that there's something going on with something manipulating.
Right.
And I thought, okay, magnetic fields. Well, I work around magnetic fields, and my phone doesn't glitch. So it doesn't do anything crazy. Now,
Really?
We noticed here before the show, I was picking my phone up and putting it down, and you could hear it.
Yeah.
In our headphones.
Yeah.
And finally, I just turned my phone off, and
Right.
yeah, I mean, did the phone have something to do with it? It sounded like it may have.
Right.
So there's something being emitted from this phone that was causing an issue with your sound system.
Yeah.
So just like that, just like the phone, maybe just doing something. It goes right back to that idea of infrasound. And I believe these beings, whoever they are very smart. And they're not necessarily rocket science smart.
Right.
But they have more intelligence than we do when it comes to survival,
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to our minds. Maybe they are somebody who is more at peace with themselves. I don't think they have wars with each other.
Right.
That kind of thing. I don't know that. I've heard a lot of people talk about a lot of different things over the years. Some of the stuff is just outrageous. Some of it is not so outrageous. I take some of it with a grain of salt because I'm just not sure about it. But you can get on YouTube and listen to the most mundane
Yes.
and most scientific explanations, all the way to some of the most insane ideas you could ever hear.
Yep.
Now, I personally try to say somewhere in the middle of that.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to discard the insane.
Nope.
I mean, I was watching one the other day where the lady who was one of those people with the ability to hear and see, and it's kind of a medium type person, she said she could communicate with them, not in words, but in symbols or in visuals.
I think I watched the same.
Did you see some of that?
Yeah. I think I saw that. I think it's like, wasn't it like a 30-minute? Was it like
about 30-something minutes long? She's blonde haired.
Yeah.
And there was a special place in the woods where they would go that was supposed
she'd been going there since a kid.
Yeah, it was some sort of a sacred place for the natives that were there or something like that. And she said that they were able to communicate with this particular one, and it told her that just like people, there are good ones and there are bad ones. And I don't see why that wouldn't be true.
Right.
I mean, you think of most of society, most people will not harm you. Yep. They just want to live their lives.
Yep.
But then you've got the sociopaths, the psychopaths that will do whatever they have to do to get what they want.
Yep.
And, I'm sure that, some people come from a bad upbringing or a hard life, and that's all they know. But, criminals are criminal.
Yep.
Dangerous people are dangerous people, no matter where they're from or who they are.
Yep.
And there's no reason to believe that they're not the same way. But at the same time, I think they all have abilities that we don't have. And they use those abilities to manipulate us into not seeing them or forgetting we saw them.
Right.
Hey, everyone in this room may have seen a Sasquatch at some point in their lives, but it's been erased from our memory.
Yeah.
It's just like UFO sightings and abduction sightings.
Yes.
People have to go back into some sort of regressive hypnosis to remember what happened to them, or remember it's been happening to them all their lives.
Yep.
There may be some kind of thing going there that we don't even understand or begin to explain.
Yep.
And I remember one time me and Kim we were walking up into the what was called Seeber Holler. It's mentioned in the book, where my grandfather was raised. And there's just an old dirt road that walked up in there, and it was overgrown, but you could, it was clear enough. And we just walking, talking to each other. And all of a sudden we just stop and look up, and there's a doe about 10 or 12 feet away. And she was just looking at us. And then she just slowly walked away. Now, it was a deer. I know it was a deer. But we got up within 12 feet of it, didn't even know it was there. Now, she wasn't trying to hide. She was just being herself. And I can only imagine she saw us coming from 40 yards at least.
At least, yeah.
And wasn't afraid. And if we had not looked up, we'd have walked right by her. Now, what if that could have been one of these Sasquatch that wants to hide, that doesn't want to be seen by us?
Yep.
We never would have seen it.
Yep.
So
could have walked right by it.
Could have walked right by it.
Could have been 2 foot from it and walked right by it.
Walked right by it. But at the same time, I think they have that ability. Again, I don't know if it's a fact, but I do believe they have an ability with their mind to make us see or not see whatever they choose. And it's not necessarily to harm us. It's to protect themselves.
Right.
Because they don't like us.
Yeah. They
know how we are.
Did you ever go in and watch that season 4 of Expedition Bigfoot that I talked to you about?
I haven't. No.
You need to watch it.
that would give me and Kim something to watch, maybe.
Well,
because that's the one where, or you want to take a break?
yeah, we need to take
Okay.
a break.
Okay.
Break time.
One day,
Break time,
take a
everybody.
break.
Hey, we're talking to Matt Seeber, East Tennessee Bigfoot. Remember, you could find us at paranormal411.org, paranormal411 on Facebook, YouTube, and X. And we'll be back right after this quick break. Remember, remember, we will have a show on Tuesday. We will not have a show on Thursday of next week.
It's Turkey Day.
It's Thanksgiving. Be with the people that you care about.
Yeah.
Give thanks.
Give some thanks. Wake up with an attitude of gratitude, and be thankful for every day that you wake up for, and be happy about it. We'll see you after this quick break.
All right.
Tennessee lies a pizzeria like no other. Step through the door of Legends and Lore Pizzeria and be transported to a realm where paranormal and cryptid encounters along with mouth-watering pizza go hand in hand. Meet Eddie and his crew, who serve up slices of the supernatural along with the best pies in town. With the walls adorned with eerie artifacts, indulge in piping hot slices that melt in your mouth and tease your taste buds. And it's not just the locals who love the incredible pizza. Legends and Lore has been selected as the best pizza joint in all of Monroe County. As lovers of everything pizza and the paranormal, the owners have mastered the art of crafting unforgettable combinations that will leave you wanting more. To stay connected with this mystical eatery, follow Legends and Lore Pizzeria on Facebook, where tales of their latest creations and upcoming specials will be shared. Make sure to browse their custom menu, featuring legendary pizzas like the Chupacabra Ranch and the Exorcist. So, whether you have an appetite for the supernatural or simply seek the best pizza in town, Legends and Lore is the place to be. Come for the unforgettable flavors, stay for the captivating stories, and find yourself in a world where legends and pizza collide.
What if the world we know is merely a fraction of reality? What if there are forces, entities, and phenomena that exist just beyond our comprehension in the shadows of the unknown? Welcome to Paranormal 411, your gateway to the unexplained and the downright chilling.
Get ready to rock with the electrifying sound of Catalyst, a band that's sure to leave you wanting more. With their powerful lyrics and killer riffs, Catalyst is a great sound in the world of rock music. You can listen and find Catalyst on Bandcamp, or go to the link at paranormal411.org and click on their banner.
We are back.
Mr. Matt Seeber's here with us.
Hey.
Oh yeah.
You gonna say something, Jason?
Something.
I've been taking up the mic here lately.
You good? I got a little cold. Can't talk too much. So Matt's been talking to us about his book.
Yeah.
Yes, it's a good book.
No, thank you.
You can find that on Amazon,
Barnes and Noble.
Barnes and Noble.
Actually, I don't believe Barnes & Noble has it. I think it's only Amazon.
Only Amazon.
Mm-hmm. And of course, I have physical copies in my possession.
Yeah.
So
That's where we sell most of ours. Just handing them out.
yeah,
We get sales, here and there online sales,
Right.
but we'll go to places and just like when we went up there to the Bigfoot festival there in Crossville.
Mhm.
Can't think of the place I was born,
Hades.
But we sold almost every one of our books.
Yeah.
I think we only had like 10 books to take to the next thing that we went to the next weekend. That's all we had.
Right.
So
Yeah, Matt sold out of his books up there at Gatlinburg.
I did. Yeah.
That's good.
That was the first time, and I'm looking forward to trying to do it again.
yeah,
So
Are you going to Townsend?
maybe if I get an opportunity. It just seems like it rains every time you go, and that's a mess. It really is a mess. An outdoor event, and it was good. I'm not knocking the event at all, but it's that time of year when there's a lot of rain coming through, and springtime, and
we've
It's
already
hit or
signed
miss.
up, haven't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, we've already signed up.
wow.
But we're getting, just like last time, kind of privileged
Right.
stuff.
Yeah.
They're giving us spaces.
Well, now
to do
that
our
was
live shows.
that was my reason for being there last year. Somebody had I had talked to the gentleman that runs the place. I think his name's Brian. He actually has that Bigfoot place down by the Jeep store.
Mm.
He had opened that new Bigfoot kind of thing, T-shirts and stuff like that. I talked to him, and he knows me, and then he contacted me and said, "Hey, I've had somebody back out on a booth. Do you want it?" I said, "Buddy, I don't know. How much is it going to cost? So you can have it." I said, "Okay, I'll be there." Yeah, easy, free is easy.
I just wish that we would have been. I mean, being over by the beer and everything is cool, and the kids' bounce houses. But I think it would have been nicer if it was closer to their guests and stuff,
Yeah.
other speakers.
Right.
But they said that they was wanting to do things a little different this next year, so
Right.
we'll
right.
see.
Yeah, I never had wanted to do the Townsend event just because of
The timing.
more than anything, the timing. Plus, it's outside. In Crossville, you're usually going to have a cool day.
Yeah.
In October.
Yeah.
So I'm up for that. I can always warm up. I can't always cool off. And I think it's and they do this in May.
Mm.
It could come out to be 80 and 90 degrees in May, and I'm a big boy. I don't want to play those games. And of course, I want to do Gatlinburg because it's in the AC. So,
It's a nice place.
it's a really nice conference.
Yeah.
If you've missed that one, you're really missing something. If
Yeah.
you are a real Bigfoot enthusiast or Bigfoot believer, you need to spend the money, take the time, and it's not too expensive.
No.
I think it's like, they're pushing $25, $30 a
I think
ticket.
it was 25. Last year's $25 a ticket.
Yeah, I mean-
for just
Yeah.
everyday regular tickets, and then their other ones were a little bit more than that. I think.
Right,
But
right.
you got that free dinner and shirt, and you
Yeah.
get to meet all the people and all
Exactly.
that with that one. So,
Yeah, it's definitely worth it.
Yeah.
Meet some of the people that you've seen on TV and some of these more well-known researchers, and plus there's all kinds of stuff there to buy. And yeah, I mean it would really behoove people to go and check that place out.
Conversations that are had there are pretty
Yeah.
fascinating.
Yeah, they sure are. You can
Uh,
hear things.
Yeah.
I even had this last conference. There were some people came up, and one girl actually bought 2 of my caps, and I was appreciative of that. But they were from New York, and they had it was called I think it was Bigfoot of Brooklyn or Brooklyn Bigfoot.
Hmm.
They actually exist. I mean, it's like a little group of people who live in Brooklyn who are enthusiasts about Bigfoot. I got online, tried to find them. They do exist, but I would really love to have one of their T-shirts. Yeah, I mean, it was so cool to say, hey, we're talking Brooklyn. So
That's
yeah,
neat.
I mean, that was neat. There was about 7 or 8 of them walking around there in a crew. Apparently they came from New York State to see this happen. So people come from all over the country, and some from other countries to be a part of this. So of course, the same group, they're doing what they do one in Florida, and then they actually have a Bigfoot cruise in Alaska. So
Yes.
if you've got the jack to go and do something like that, I mean, and of course, people like Jeff Meldrum and the really well-known researchers, they go on these cruises and they have these talks and all this kind of stuff. So yeah, it sounds like a good time.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah. So it's
Can't wait to see who they're going to have this year.
right. So yeah,
Matt Seeber.
I doubt it.
East
They need
Tennessee
to.
Bigfoot.
Yeah,
Matt
I
Seeber
know.
needs to be there.
yeah. I'll be there. Lord willing, the creek don't rise. I'll be there. It just I don't think they're going.
So back to your book.
Yes.
I hate you to give out all, what your book's about and stuff. But
Mhm.
didn't you have like a theory? I'd love to hear this theory.
Did you read it?
Yeah.
What did you think, first of all?
I think
It's an interesting
yeah,
theory.
interesting.
Okay. Now, my wife convinced me to put it in the book.
Oh, good.
So
That was good that you did.
I wasn't going to, because it's really off the wall. But it has to do, it's a biblical story. It's a biblical idea.
Right.
That Bigfoot are the children of Adam and Eve before Adam and Eve fell. Before they fell from the grace of God, from the protection of God. And when that happened, these beings disappeared into wherever. They left their mother and father and scattered across the world. Adam was told to dress the planet, take care of the animals and do all these things. He was given dominion over the earth. Well, when he fell, he lost that. He was no longer allowed or even given the ability to do those things. When he fell from grace and he and Eve partook of the fruit, which was of the fruit of knowledge, or the tree of knowledge,
Mm-hmm.
which gave them something more of a human aspect to them. These other ones had not done that. So the opinion is, could it possibly be that Bigfoot, they're out here today and they're able to they're taking care of the planet.
Mm-hmm.
They're doing everything they can to keep mankind, us, from destroying the planet.
Mm-hmm.
They are doing things that we can't even begin to imagine when it comes to the wildlife.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, they're taking and they're eating. They have no choice to do that stuff. But yeah, it's kind of just an idea, and
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
yeah, it takes a little bit out of some of the other ideas.
I've heard some of the before. I think the Mormons had an idea about Cain.
Yes, yeah, that Cain actually became the first one.
Yeah.
Now there's also that was supposedly the mark that God put on Cain for his sin.
Right.
Well,
When he was thrown out and said, "You've got to go," Cain said to God, "Well, if you cast me out, everybody will kill me. They'll kill me." He said, "I'll put a mark on you that if anybody kills you, they will get 7 times the damage or the punishment that you get for what you've done."
Yeah.
So that kind of a big deal there. But then there's also the story of Esau and Jacob.
Yeah.
That's always one of the more interesting stories that could be part of this. Again, I don't know how many people know about it, but when Jacob and Esau were born, they were twins. And Esau was born first. He had the birthright. But somehow or another, his brother Jacob, when he was being born, reached out of his mother's womb and grabbed his leg.
pulled him back in.
Tried to.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there was something to that.
Yeah.
And Esau was covered in hair from the top of his head to the sole of his feet.
Mm-hmm.
And the Bible describes him as a cunning hunter, a man of the wilderness and of the forest. And he lived out in the woods.
Yep.
He lived out in the wild. While Jacob was smooth-skinned and he lived in tents. And I heard one guy say one time, well, this is an allegory of the separation between civilized and uncivilized.
Mm.
So when you start, when humans started living in tents and farming and all that stuff, they became civilized. But then you still had the people that they just lived off the land. They just went wherever they had to do. They followed the animals around and killed them as they needed, and
Right.
that kind of thing. But I think there may be more to that. I think, because not Cain, but Esau, he left because he was so upset that Jacob had stolen the birthright.
Mm-hmm.
There was a birthright for the firstborn that their father Isaac was going to bless the firstborn, and it was called the birthright. So whatever Isaac left behind would become Esau's.
Right.
But instead, the story goes that Jacob's mother and he wrapped himself in the skins of goats.
Yeah.
Because his father was blind on his deathbed. And he went in, and the only way his dad could tell it was Esau was to touch the skin.
Yeah.
And he found the fur, the hair. Oh, my son Esau.
Yeah.
And that's what happened. And he tricked his father, which is wrong. I mean, you can't say that it was the right thing to do,
Right.
but it happened. But of course, Esau, and before this all went down, Esau sold his birthright according to the Bible. Jacob was cooking food on the fire, and Esau had come in from the hunt, and didn't apparently get anything, and he was famished. He's just, I'm so hungry. I will sell you. I will give you my birthright just for a bowl of the soup that you're making, and he did it.
Right.
So according to Jacob, he did the right thing.
Right.
And he just had to trick Dad to make it happen.
Yeah.
So, and then of course Esau goes away and he starts his own clan. He's got his own thing going on, and maybe this hair gene that Esau may have had was transferred onto his children and all that good stuff. But
Right.
It's
who knows?
interesting.
It's a good story.
Yeah.
But I was watching something last night with Tim Alberino. I don't know if you're familiar with him. He's a pretty big deal. You need to check him out. He has this theory that there was life before Eden. There was earth before the earth we know today,
Mm-hmm.
and it was destroyed. And he believes it was destroyed with heat and fire.
Mm-hmm.
Now, for years, I've looked at these walls in Peru, how they're put together.
The big H blocks.
Yeah, to me, they look like marshmallows melted together.
Right.
That's what they
Oh,
look
yeah.
like. And I could only imagine that enough fervent heat on these stones could have melted them together.
Yep.
And I believe there's also a place over in Egypt where the steps are made out of some sort of granite. And right down the middle of those steps, it's melted.
Yep.
How does that even happen? There was nothing known in that time of history that could have done that.
Yep.
But it
Are you
did. It's happened.
Familiar with the Vedic text?
No, I don't think
They
so.
talk about
The Vimanas.
the Vimanas.
Oh, yeah,
and-
yeah,
and
in India.
nuclear war.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
They talk about a nuclear war that happened. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they actually went to some places out into the desert where some of these old ruins and stuff are,
Mhm.
and they were hot.
Really?
Yeah, really, really hot. So they're
Even all
definitely-
those years later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this, that happened thousands of years ago,
Right.
and so they're like, well, this is way more than background radiation,
Mhm.
or more than what it should be. So
Yeah. Yeah. I think there's also stories of where some people, I don't know where this is and who it was. Honestly, I don't remember much of anything anymore. But there was someone who found a necklace, an ancient necklace, that was made out of melted glass. Or melted sand. They can tell whether or not it was done naturally or not. And said this rock, this crystal, is because sand was heated so hot it melted. And the only thing that we know that can do that is a nuclear blast.
wow.
But there it was, and made into a necklace for some uppity queen, princess, or whatever had worn thousands of years ago. So that's something to think about too.
Yeah, that's interesting.
There was something going on here before. We don't know what it was, and of course we can't prove it. It's just like anything else.
The Hopi Indians talk about this as the fourth age, that
Mhm.
there has been 3 times before that the earth has been destroyed.
Mhm.
And the last time that it was destroyed, the ant people came up
Mhm.
and took them underground to save them
Mhm.
until it was good, and then they brought them back up. And that's in the Hopi tradition.
You mentioned ant people. You think maybe they could have been mistaken from the mantis people?
Possibly.
Because now there are stories of
Mhm.
those type of alien type beings living underground.
Yep.
They look more like a mantis.
Yep.
And that's
Yep.
creepy.
Yep. And they've even got rock art depicting these beings and stuff.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. It's fascinating stuff. I mean, it's really, and I'll just tell you, as a Christian man,
Mhm.
it's hard to wrap my head around.
Right.
Because I've been taught a certain way.
Right.
And I've been told a certain thing.
Right.
And for most of my life, I've believed it as it's been told to me.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But I can't ignore some of this stuff anymore.
Right.
Now, I still rationalize it biblically.
Right.
It hasn't taken anything away from my faith. It's
Right.
in fact, it's added to it.
Right.
But a lot of the things that we overlook it because we don't understand it.
Yep.
Certain members of the clergy, for example, they don't touch certain aspects of the Bible because they have no answer for it.
Right.
They don't understand it. They won't explain it. They can't explain it. It's just, it's kind of like the same thing with Bigfoot, for example. You go into just about any church, and I've actually experienced this myself in a church where people are actually up there talking, and they say, this Bigfoot thing is a joke, right? You know that, right? Here I am. I've already been in this 4 or 5 years, and I'm sitting back and I'm thinking, you clown. You don't have a clue what you're talking about.
Right.
Because you haven't looked into it.
Yep.
You do not know
Yep.
what's going on out there.
Right.
And I can't say that there's any proof in the Bible for sure that Bigfoot exists, but there's not any proof that the raccoon exists either.
Right.
But we know we got them.
Yep.
We got them at the house.
All
They're
over
crawling
the
all over my wife's car.
place. You get the little handprints.
Yeah. Yeah. And so and I think my wife has come to that realization too.
Right.
There's a lot of stuff we're not being told.
Mm-hmm.
And whether or not it's intentional or not, I don't know. I do believe that somewhere back in the past, these religious colleges, these universities like Harvard and Yale,
Mm-hmm.
they were built on Christian principles. They were built by supposedly godly men. But look at them today. They're nowhere near what they began as.
Right.
And I've always understood that somewhere in the past, something infiltrated these universities and changed it into the evolutionary theories. And there is no God theories. There are no things below, or we're billions of years old, and there's nothing before that, and we all just sort of became. Now, whether or not that's true, I don't know. I know how I believe.
Right.
I wasn't there to see it, so there's that. But anyway, there's a lot of things that's being hidden from us in the modern day.
Mm-hmm.
I think Bigfoot would rewrite history.
Absolutely.
UFOs, UAPs will rewrite history.
They're already starting.
Yeah, and it's funny. We've talked about this before. Just a few years ago, when Congress had all this talk about UAPs,
Mm-hmm.
nobody blinked an eye.
Yep.
We're so used to the idea of it now.
Yep.
That we don't care anymore.
Well, it's in movies.
Yeah.
It's like I said, it's everywhere.
Yeah, but people that we know that are very skeptical.
Right.
Bigfoot doesn't exist. Aliens don't exist. This is all a bunch of nonsense.
Yeah.
When they hear it being talked about in Congress, they just
blow it off.
This is your government talking now.
Yeah.
Why aren't you listening to them now?
Yeah.
You listen to them about all this other stuff.
Yeah.
Why are you ignoring it?
Exactly. Especially like you said, when it's the government, you've not only got the House, but You got the Senate talking about it now.
Yeah.
Well, let's let the mainstream media talk about it for a little while and see what happens.
Right.
I'm sure we'd get a bunch of believers because they believe anything, you know.
Yeah, whatever the
media
mainstream says.
Well, but that's exactly it, right? Is that you have these guys that don't want to believe, like you said, super skeptical, and I think that's a terrible way to live. You know, it's okay to have skepticism about things and to want to learn more about it before you fully get vested in something.
Right.
That's healthy.
Mm-hmm.
But just to blow everything off because you're that kind of a skeptic, that's not healthy. It's not a healthy way of living. And then, like you said, now our government is talking about these things.
Yeah.
The UAPs or the UFOs.
Yeah.
And in a serious manner.
Mm-hmm.
Talking about their capabilities and crash retrievals and bodies and all these things are coming out and all these things. And people are still going,
Yeah.
But this is the same government that 20 years ago was like, they don't exist.
Exactly.
And they're crazy.
Exactly.
And you're going to get some men in black knocking at your door going, don't talk about it no more.
Yeah.
You know.
As you think about it too, I mentioned the word diversion earlier.
Mm-hmm.
People even say that what they're doing now is a diversion from what's really going on.
Right.
The government's very good about things like that.
Don't
And everything,
over here.
everything is
Over
compartmentalized.
here.
So these people don't know what these people are
Yes.
doing, and these people don't know what these people are doing. But when it comes to this fruition, there's something here.
Yeah.
And that's dangerous for everybody.
Yep. Well, that's another thing that they're trying to get through with this, with these hearings and stuff, is not only how dangerous these things could be because the way that they just come in and go, not necessarily that they're here to kill us because they haven't done it, but just the fact that they make the skies more dangerous because they've almost had near collisions with airplanes of all sorts.
Yeah.
From private to commercial to naval and everything else.
Mm-hmm.
But they're also starting to talk, what it's bringing into the forefront is the black projects. These projects that our government's supposed to have oversight of, but some bean counter has figured out a way to be able to put this somewhere else to where there's no government oversight on any of these projects. And it's gotten to the point to where the Pentagon and the DOD have not passed a single audit ever.
Yeah.
They've never passed. And I said, well, how hard is that? You don't pass audit, you don't get money.
Yeah.
You can't show me where the money went.
Yeah.
You don't get no more.
Right.
And just close the purse.
Yeah.
Put it away and say,
they won't do that.
Obviously, you're not doing nothing.
Yeah.
Because you can't show me.
It's being done, that's for sure.
Yeah, this is show and tell.
That's where you get those $1,000 hammers.
Right.
Yeah. That's where that stuff comes from.
Exactly.
We bought 2 million hammers at $1,000 a piece.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. The hammer people are making some good money.
That's right.
So they've been doing stuff like that forever now, I'm sure.
And that's what they're trying to get into the mix up with this is to get that part of it and all the companies like Lockheed Martin and all these companies that are involved in it.
Yeah.
And then where these things are being held.
Right.
And all that other stuff. This is other part of that.
Yeah.
That they're trying to drill into.
I saw this thing on social media the other night, and it just fascinated me. And I'm not sure if it's real or not. You know how it is. Nowadays, you don't know what's real. They're showing real pretty pictures of birds in other countries. They're AI, and I know they're AI because I've never seen one in my life. Mm-hmm. But people are clicking, oh, how beautiful, blah, blah, blah. But anyway, we'll go. I saw this photograph of an older gentleman standing in front of that Lockheed, what the fastest one? What was it?
The SR-21.
The SR, the SR, yes, the Blackbird. Yeah. And this was in the early '60s, I think, is when that thing was flying around. Mm-hmm. And
it was a CIA. It was a CIA.
Yeah, and a quote was going. He had this quote supposedly that said, we can do just about anything we want to. We've got the technology that you will never see.
Yep.
And this was in the 60s.
Yeah.
So
I've actually, so I just posted that same thing.
I guess I saw it from you.
And I put on the post too. I said you could go in. So that man was the president of Skunkworks.
Okay. Yeah.
And he was giving a talk, and that was actually part of the talk that he gave, where he said that we now, and this is part of the talk that he had, but he said we now have the technology to take ET home. He does not no longer have to phone home.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's pretty interesting stuff.
Yes, and you could go on YouTube and actually look him up.
Right.
And you can look up that whole speech and listen to the whole thing where he talks about that stuff.
Right. So that brings these UAPs into a whole new light.
Yes.
Maybe they're not alien. Maybe it's us.
It could be, or it could be where we have taken their technology
And reverse
engineered it, because that supposedly has been going on since the 40s at least,
Right.
that we know of.
Right. Yeah. So I mean, it's just a big can of worms.
Yep.
It really is, and it's all around us. And hey, most of the people in this country don't have a clue.
Right.
And those that listen to podcasts like this,
Yes.
they're getting their minds blown, or they're agreeing with what we're saying.
That's right. Or they're smart and they go out and research it for themselves and then say, hey, they were right about that. Or, well, they were right, but they were off here maybe, or something. You know?
Yeah, well, that's the biggest
okay.
thing. That's the biggest thing when I run into people who don't believe in this thing.
Yes.
In Bigfoot, for example. I stopped trying to make people believe, but I triple dog dare them to go and look into it for themselves.
Yes.
And 9 times out of 10, they won't.
Yes.
Because they know they're going to find something that's going to freak them out.
Absolutely.
They're going to find an answer to something that they can't explain. And,
Right.
it messes with their paradigm. It's a paradigm shift in their life, and their life will never be the same.
Well, and that's the thing with stuff like that, right? So you have a lot of these people that are, I've been hunting for my whole life, 40 years, 50 years. I never saw nothing out of the ordinary.
Yeah.
And then you have some people who've been hunting most of their life, and something happens to them, and they don't go hunting ever again.
They never go back.
We had a guy talking to us.
Yeah.
Up in at the last conference or the festival that we went to, and no, it wasn't either. It was here in Loudoun, and he was back over here in Cityco.
Okay. Yeah.
Camping, but
Perfect
way
spot.
back up in Cityco. And he actually told me how to get to the place, but I forgot now. But he said they were stopped.
Really?
And he said they went there every year, hunted, and done everything every single year. He said this happened 5 years ago, maybe I think it was. He was stopped when they set up their tents and they went to sleep. More than one Bigfoot stalked around their camp all night long. He said that they got up the next morning and they packed and they left. And he said it's been 5 years and he's not went back.
Yeah.
He has not been back in the woods. And so you get that where this happens to somebody and that paradigm shift happens and you have the whoa moment.
Yeah.
It's like the wow signal that they talk about, right?
Yeah.
That happened in the 70s.
Yeah.
It's that wow signal that you get to your brain going,
yeah.
Well, I thought it was fake.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was real.
I had no idea. Yeah.
But I had one outside my tent all night.
Yeah, right.
Making noises and doing all kinds of crazy stuff and tearing up my camp.
Yeah.
And it wasn't a bear.
Right.
Because I hunt bear in this very spot.
Yeah.
And so it was pretty crazy. And I saw the guy's face and he bought a book and a shirt from us that day.
Yeah.
But listening to the story, I was like, now, this guy right here, he's telling me something that really happened to him.
Yeah.
And you see those every once in a while.
Yeah.
When people are telling you, you're like, oh, yeah, this guy had something happen to him that scared the wits out of him.
Right. Well, it's more often than not when somebody sees one of these things, in a real major way. Now, yours was a
Mine's
road
a
crossing, and
yes.
it was over there somewhere.
Well, and I was in an 18-wheeler doing 65 miles an hour.
Yeah,
you know?
so you're kind of safe
Yes,
there, in
yes.
my opinion.
Yes.
If I'm driving down the road and I'm doing 70 and I see one standing on the side of the road, I don't think I'm going to stop and go back. But I will try to make sure that's what I saw.
Right.
But that's enough of a sighting for me. But there are people who claim to have seen these things really up close.
Yeah. What do you think about Todd Standing's work? You see his face go blank. That's probably one of the most controversial names I just threw out in the whole Bigfoot world.
No.
Huh?
No.
You don't believe?
No.
You don't believe it's real?
No. There may have been something real in the past, but those clearest Bigfoot photos ever, no, I don't buy those at all. I really don't. I don't.
Mm.
And, I mean, I don't know the guy.
Right.
And I mean no disrespect.
Right.
I don't believe him.
Right.
I mean, from what I understood, his sister is a makeup artist in California.
Right.
And I can tell you, one of them looked like a person with a bunch of stuff stuck on their face. And then the other one looked like a Muppet from the Muppet Show.
Right.
That's what they look like to me.
Right.
That the one with the smooth brown skin, it just looks like an inanimate object. It doesn't look real to me at all.
Right.
And the one that looks like it's an actual person standing there. No, I don't. From what I understand, Bigfoot doesn't look like either one of those.
Right.
There's something about their facial structure. I mean, I understand that everybody's different, and that's one of the aspects that I look at it. Every human looks different.
Yep.
I mean, you might find somebody who looks a whole lot like you,
Mm-hmm.
or a celebrity or something like that. For the most part, we're completely different. Our facial structure, our features, our skin tone, our hair color, the way our hair lays, everything. We're not a bunch of wiener dogs running around.
Right.
Because all black and brown wiener dogs pretty much look alike.
Yes.
But I think Bigfoot are the same. They all look different. But I don't believe either one of those pictures is real. Now, I do remember years ago when I first heard of Todd Standing, there was a grainy video that he had posted of something up on a hillside. And, okay, that's intriguing to me. This is, right when I first got into this. Okay, Todd Standing, I'll remember that name. And then when that popped up, I thought, no. That's
I think
like
he did have some experience with it, but I think it.
Well, I think people get to a point where, and I could be easily the same way, because I don't get very much traffic. I don't get a whole lot of people contacting me, and if I'm looking to get rich, quit my job, and do this all the time, I'm going to have to figure some way out to make me more interesting.
Right.
And again, I'm not saying this is what he does,
Right.
but some people get desperate.
Right.
And they have to get something going to stay relevant, in whatever field they're in.
Right.
I guess it's kind of like a job. My wife has just graduated school and she's going into a new career. She's moved from one thing into another. She's changing.
Mm-hmm.
She's trying to better herself and make everything better for her family.
Mm-hmm.
That she didn't stay in that one spot. And it's that same kind of thing, but there's really nothing there.
Right.
She can pretend that she knows what she's doing now, but she'll eventually be found out.
Right.
She's got to prove it.
Yeah.
And when you jump from that grainy video of something up on the hill to some of the clearest, most authentic Bigfoot photos on the planet, no.
Yeah.
No, I don't buy it. I just
You got
don't.
a non-digital camera.
Is that what it was?
I don't know.
We got a question in the chat room.
Okay.
From Allison.
Okay.
She said you might have already answered, but can you tell her your thoughts on Sasquatch being interdimensional?
I believe they could very well be. I believe it's very possible,
Mm-hmm.
because I do believe in those kinds of things. I believe in portals
Mm-hmm.
and traveling from one place to another.
Mm-hmm.
I do. I mean, if we look at it even in a biblical sense, the way I was raised, when somebody dies, they go one place or the other.
Right.
And we can call that a dimension if we'd like.
Right.
Our energy is transferred from one place to another, a good place or a bad place.
Right.
So the person I mentioned earlier in the podcast, Tim Alberino, he has this idea that, especially with people who are Christian, we consider ourselves the center of the universe.
Mm-hmm.
Everything revolves around Christians because God loves us.
Right.
Okay. Well, in reality, his son is the center of the universe.
Right.
Christ is the center of the universe. And we are just out here as spokes on the wheel. And there are a lot of spokes with a lot of different people on it, a lot of different beings, a lot of different entities,
Mm-hmm.
some good, some bad. And there's a grand thing going on
Mm-hmm.
that we don't have a clue about.
Right.
We're here in our little bubble on our little planet,
Mm-hmm.
but there's a lot of stuff going on that we can't even imagine. And I think that interdimensionality and the portals and all those things play a role in it. These people say that one gentleman up in Washington State, he claims that Bigfoot are from a dying planet. And they figured out a way to transfer themselves through a portal from their dying world to our world.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how they survived this cataclysm on their world. And then this woman that we mentioned earlier in the podcast, who had this ability to communicate with this one,
Mm-hmm.
it supposedly told her that the dimension they live in is not very beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a nice place to be. It's not dangerous to them. It's just not beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
There were some sort of rocks or crystals in that other dimension where they drew their energy, but they like to eat food, so they come over here.
Yep.
That kind of thing. And I don't see why that could be a viable answer.
Right. Yep.
There's a lot of stuff we just don't know.
Yep.
Again, I'm not a scientist, and I certainly believe that there is a lot of good science, a science to help cure disease and all that stuff. But then, of course, we got to look at how Big Pharma's treating us right now,
Mm-hmm.
and have for many years.
Yeah.
And they're not treating the disease; they're treating symptoms.
Yep.
And
Well,
we're
it
getting
keeps
sick.
you coming back.
Keeps you coming back.
Yeah.
So it's all about money.
Yes.
But I think they could very well be dimensional. But at the same time, as I said earlier, I think they also have an ability to disappear in front of our eyes due to an ability to manipulate us.
Right.
So it could go either way for me.
That's the way I felt. I mean, that season 4
Mm-hmm.
episode,
I'll hit it. I will. I'll hit it.
when they're in a cave,
Right.
and that's what made me want to build that thing so much.
Mm-hmm.
Because what it does is map a terrain like a LiDAR does.
Mm-hmm.
And when they had that dog going through there, and it was mapping with the LiDAR inside that, what really a cave was it? It was like an old mine or
Old
something.
mine,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, it was mapping. And you could see as it was walking through, it was that LiDAR was mapping the whole terrain around. And then it had a regular camera too.
Okay.
Right? So it could see in the dark in there with the camera. Well, when they started looking back at the footage, you got back to the back of this cave area. There was a cave in where some old timbers had fallen down out of this. And but back here you see this big rock
Mm-hmm.
on the side where it kind of started going around a little bit. And with the camera, that's all you saw was just a big rock
Mm-hmm.
over by the wall. Well, when they took the LiDAR images, that's not what was there.
Mm-hmm.
Where that rock was, something was sitting on the rock.
Right.
And the LiDAR image, I mean, it was literally so it was walking, say, this way. It was something turned where it's back. And all you can see is the back and part of the arm and part of the leg, and it was like this.
Wow.
But side by side, you watch both as it comes up.
Right.
The one comes in a picture, the other just sees wall and a rock.
Mm-hmm.
So it shows that there's got to be something that they can do visually.
What's compelling about that
Is
that
that
the regular
next-
camera
Yeah, the one that he is holding.
is.
You know, the Predator.
Mm-hmm.
So they hear almost like those old spy movies or something where a rock will get thrown and they turn around. They're like, oh God, right? And they walk that way.
Yeah.
Well, Russ starts going that way and his cameraman turns to go with him. Well, when his cameraman turns, you see that go by like he's going around behind them, and he just diverted them off somewhere.
Like the heat off your car,
Right.
off your hood.
Yeah.
That's what it looked like.
Just kind of a hazy,
Yes.
like you're looking through a fire.
Yes.
Yeah.
Weird.
Just like the Predator movies where he was going through. I'm telling you, you've got to watch at least that one episode.
Okay.
And you're going to be going, this is what I've been talking about.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the most compelling evidence I have ever seen.
Well, now here's the thing, too. I don't believe they have the ability to manipulate electronics.
Right.
Now, they might be able to cause it to shut off. They might drain a battery, that kind of thing. But now that you guys experience that kind of stuff and this other stuff you do, right?
Yes. Tons of times.
And that obviously was not manipulated by, they didn't see it. Maybe it was manipulating a mind, so they couldn't see it. But the cameras couldn't, the regular camera couldn't see it.
Yes.
Does LiDAR mean light?
No, so
what
LiDAR, it's a laser. What it does is these lasers are scanning and mapping the terrain.
Okay.
So it's sending out thousands of lasers, and as it's going, it's just the lasers are hitting points, and it's actually mapping it.
Okay. Well, isn't that the same thing they use, like if they're looking for something in the ground?
Yes.
They use this big.
Well, no, that's a GPR. Ground
GPR.
penetrating radar.
Ground penetrating. Now, is radar? Is that
Acoustic.
Radio waves?
Acoustic, yeah. Acoustic
Okay, it's
and radio,
sound.
Yeah.
Okay, so LiDAR is laser.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So LiDAR is the same thing that they use when they're flying over these jungles, and they shoot down, and then they can find all these structures underneath there.
Yeah.
And they can strip away the canopies and all that stuff. That's LiDAR.
Okay.
So it's a mapping technology.
Okay. Trying to take this. What color was the light in the LiDAR? Could you see the light?
No.
So it's an invisible spectrum.
Yep.
Okay. All right. That's okay. I'll have to try to find that.
Yeah.
It's
It's an easy one to find because it'll talk about Russ finding a cave, or it's not a cave though, it's a mine.
Okay.
And then they get a dog to go in. It's one of those robotic dogs.
Okay.
And it's got the LiDAR on the front and the camera on the front.
Yeah.
And amazing. It's amazing. Yeah.
Well, what was their rationale? What did they determine?
Well, I'll tell you what's funny is that
they broke to a commercial break, didn't they?
no. What's funny about it is that it was at the very end of that episode.
Uh-huh.
So at the end of the episodes is where, what's his name, the guy that's behind the scenes, in these episodes, because what's his name's not there, he took over walking around with Maria. Anyway, he would go through and just kind of go through it, all the evidence that they had captured for that day and all that stuff, and then kind of show if they caught anything just as the episode was kind of going off.
Right.
And that's when it got caught. And so the next one, they open up him telling them and stuff about it, and sending it to them, to Maria and them.
Right.
And the one thing that I can say about Maria is that for a primatologist, she really don't go to the woo.
Yeah.
She tries not to go to the woo. But when things happen, because this is the second time some woo stuff has happened to them, she doesn't discount it.
Right.
What was it, 2 years ago or 3 years ago that was here at the Bigfoot conference?
Right.
And at the same time, Meldrum was there. And them two got into a little bit of a debate on the stage because of what had happened to them on that episode.
Right.
Not that episode; it was season 2, I think, at that time.
Okay.
Where they were along a river or a waterway,
I remember that one.
and then the shadow.
Yeah.
But there was nothing there.
That's the one that had the fish trap in the middle of the water.
Yes.
Right? And there was something kicking rocks off the top.
Yeah,
of the
and even with Russ had seen something up above him.
Yeah.
And that night they were filming, and a shadow cast of a person-like thing walking, but there was no one there.
Yeah.
And so they got into a little heated debate because he was like, "Well, what do you mean by that?" And she goes, "Look, I don't know, but it's there and it's caught and it's on camera."
Yeah.
So you can, because I think it hurt his little feelings a little bit, that you have to not discount the woo if it's there.
Yeah, you have to.
And so she didn't discount it, and she also didn't discount what happened here. They're like, I can't explain it.
Yeah.
But the evidence there, it's there.
And that was a standard video camera.
Yes.
For television.
Yes.
I mean, I know they're pretty high tech. I've understood them too.
Yeah.
I took that very question. I work with some really intelligent people where I am. And this one young man, he's not with us anymore. He moved on to bigger things. I went to him one day. I said, "Listen, is it possible for there to be a shadow in front of you that light will not penetrate?" He says, "No, it's not possible." But it was on that episode where we saw it.
Yes.
There was a shadow against the bank,
Yes.
the rock wall.
Yes.
And they put that camera across it and the flashlight, and you could see it.
Yeah.
It was there. But he said it's impossible. So it's not impossible.
Right.
What they were seeing was solid mass.
Yes.
But they could see through it.
Yes. And it casts a shadow.
Yes.
And then see, in this episode, you actually get almost the same thing, except for you get to see that somehow they can make it to where what we see, right? So the visible spectrum we see,
right?
I can say that's why the video camera caught nothing.
Yeah.
But he wasn't not even a shadow of him being there.
Yeah. On
the video camera. But you can't hide from the LiDAR.
Right.
Because it's mapping the terrain.
Yeah.
And bringing back all points.
Well, now here's a good question then. Would it be possible to scale down LiDAR into a visor?
Well, I'm sure, because that thing was a small device on that dog.
I mean, if you could afford LiDAR to stick on top of your head that you could actually look through and see. Yeah. I mean, I even asked this physicist this one day. He says, "Is there any way that we could manipulate the light spectrum? Is there any kind of lens? Is there any kind of electronic device that we could look through to see deeper into either side of the light spectrum?" He said, "I don't know." And this guy was really smart. So I don't know if that's possible or not, but just imagine if we can just deviate just a few more degrees in or out of the light spectrum, what we might be able to see of what's going on around us.
Well, I think that's where some of these people who could see things can naturally already see.
They have a different set of...
Yep.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yep.
It's just like you were talking about your hearing.
Yes. Yeah.
So, yeah, that's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. I just think that some people are wired a little differently.
Yeah. Well, ultimately, in my opinion, if Bigfoot is going to be proven in my lifetime, AI is going to do it.
Yeah.
AI will do it.
Yeah.
Because I think AI is going to come to a point where it's going to be able to rationalize all the information.
Well, and it's going to be at its beck and call, right? All the information that's on the internet.
Yeah.
Is going to be right there.
Yeah.
And it's going to be able to analyze from A to Z.
Yeah.
And then it's going to say, okay, let's take the middle ground.
Mm-hmm.
And then if this is true, then we're looking for a creature that's this, this, and this. And their habits are going to be this, this, and this, according to all this data of when they're seen and all this data of all this other stuff. Go here and find them about this time of the year.
Yeah. And there it'll be.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wonder, either one of you guys have any kind of chat GPT or something like that?
Yes.
Sit down one night and just ask it if it's Bigfoot's real.
I got into a long conversation with it just the other day.
Long conversation.
because I asked it about time travel,
Uh-huh.
and it said it's not possible. Time travel is not possible. And I said, well, that's actually not true. I said, Einstein's theory of relativity actually does give for time travel. I said it give for it, and he even tells how it gives for time travel.
Mm-hmm.
And I went into a long conversation with it, and it was finally saying, yes, you're right. Time travel would be possible. We just don't have the means to do it.
Okay.
And then it was trying to end the conversation, and I was like, no, because I was trying to ask it about some things in the paranormal world where we talk about the Mandela effect.
All right.
Right. And my question, might as well talk to a computer if you're going to pose questions like this.
Yeah. Yeah.
So my question to ChatGPT was, could this be people from the future messing with the timeline by coming back and forth and it messing with the timeline a little bit? And that's why we're having these weird things that are happening to us, where we believe something was this, but now it got messed up. And so we're remembering something from another timeline. And so I was fighting with ChatGPT on this conversation because it was saying it wasn't possible. But then when I would put the general relativity and everything else in there, it was saying, well, it is possible, but we can't do it. I said, well, if it's possible, but we can't do it today, would it then be conceivable that at some point we could? Well, then it finally conceded and said, well, yeah, at some point it's very possible.
Right.
I said, well, then let's just go ahead and hypothesize that in 1,000 years we can travel back in time because of general relativity and what else we learn at that point. Then would it be possible that what we're seeing in Mandela effect is caused by this? And so it finally was on my page and was answering my questions.
Wow.
But you have to get with it because they've got some of that stuff so locked down to where it won't do it.
Yeah.
It just won't do it.
And there's
I've
some
had
things
one
they
of
don't
them
want
end
you
a
to
conversation with me before and tell me it won't talk to me no more. I have had it do that to me. Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah. I'm like, boy.
Speaking of Mandela effects, and this is something I'll just throw out there. When I was younger, there was a realty company, and it's still around, Caldwell Banker.
Yes.
When I remember it as a child or a younger person, it was CALD. It's not. It's Coldwell Banker. You look at any commercial out there today, it's COLD, Coldwell Banker.
I swear.
I'll always remember Caldwell Banker.
Yeah.
Always. My entire life, up until the past few years. Now, you're the first person I ever mentioned that to. You guys are the first ones.
Caldwell, yeah.
You remember CA, Caldwell Banker? See?
Yeah, that's what I remember.
Yeah.
Caldwell Banker.
Yeah, and there's all kinds of these things out there.
That's Caldwell doesn't even sound right. It sounds weird.
Don't it though? It sounds like it's from another dimension, doesn't it?
That don't belong here. Take that back. Give us our Caldwell back.
Yeah, that's one of those things.
Wendy says hi.
Who?
Wendy.
Hey, Wendy.
Hey, Wendy.
Thank you again for doing the festival in Oliver Springs. That was just thanks. I appreciate it so much. So,
but yeah, talking. Have you taken time and talked to ChatGPT?
No, I don't have
or
it.
any of the chat programs. There's tons of them out there.
Yeah,
free ones.
Yeah.
I recommend doing a free one. Don't pay for that stuff.
Yeah. I'm afraid to get in a conversation with them. I really am because
it's fun, especially if you're. And I won't say if you're generally have knowledge in the conversation that you're going to have.
Yeah.
Then you can both do a little fact checking, but then you can push it to its limits,
right,
and test it.
Yeah.
And that's what I like to do. I'm one of those weird guys that like to touch stuff,
Right.
And it says red button, don't push. I'm like, do you really don't want to push that? But that's. That was just one of my conversations with them.
Right.
But I've had conversations literally like a lot of them will give you 3 or 30 free questions
Okay.
in one session. Well, then you could close that session out and start another session.
Okay.
And I was 3 or 5 questions in, and it said that it was done and that I needed to start a new session within 5 questions.
Yeah.
So
Didn't have the answer.
yeah,
Or
it was refusing to answer.
it blew a fuse.
Yeah, it was refusing to answer my question.
Yeah. Okay.
And
Wow.
and what was funny is that I would sit there and still try to tap something in, and it would say the same thing over and over and over and over again. Start a new session. Start a new session. Start a new session. Yeah. So it's fun to try to see if you can break the internet.
Yeah.
Well, Matt, you want to give out your information again? Where to close?
Sure. Yeah. It's you can find me online. Have a very small, very just simple website, www.easttennesseebigfoot.org or .com. And that's just a web presence. It is a segue into the Facebook page where most everything I post is at.
You got that awesome new picture and stuff of yours.
Yeah.
That you have.
It's up there.
I say new, but it's like what, 2 years old now.
Yeah, really. I think it's still there. I'm not sure. I don't pay any attention to it.
Your new
the new
Bigfoot,
logo.
the Bigfoot logo.
Should be there.
I think it's there.
Yeah.
I visit your page pretty often.
Yeah.
I
I
like to look around and see what's new.
I'm not very good at new.
Yeah.
I usually only post things that are either local or very relevant nationally.
Right.
I don't wear it out. I don't, because there's a lot of Bigfoot sites that throw stuff out there. They throw these pictures and these videos up of junk, people. They really are. There is no Bigfoot hanging from a tree with an old frontiersman holding a gun, standing beside it. That is fake.
They don't have
That is photoshopped.
Yes.
Trust me.
Or AI.
Trust me. Or AR. Yeah, if anything you see that's AI, a Bigfoot standing next to a man, and it's got a brownish tinge to the photograph, it is fake.
Yeah.
Trust me. Because I can guarantee you, since 2005, I have looked at every Bigfoot photograph on the internet. And these things pop up. Oh, this was found in a jar in a backyard of some old grandpa in West Virginia. Bull crap. It's not real. It's not real.
In 1840.
In 1840, on top of that.
Yeah.
Highly well-sealed mason
hold on.
jar.
Smile.
Exactly. Now, the one Bigfoot had knee pads on, for crying out loud.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
That's
he was
hard
probably
work.
a carpenter.
I think they were still doing
It's hard work on wood floors and stuff like
portrait
that.
paintings.
Yeah, portrait
40.
painting. Yeah.
Yeah, the camera hadn't came out yet, I don't think.
It's just, don't buy into that stuff, folks. I mean, really, I'm trying to help you. I'm not trying to hurt you.
Right.
So, you'll find most of my stuff on Facebook. I'm
10,000 members strong.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. If it wasn't for the Bigfoot page, I probably wouldn't be on Facebook anymore. But it's turned into an advertising contest. That's all it is now.
Right.
And a lot of smut on there too. Just to be honest with you.
Yeah, I know. I'm constantly having to, and they won't let you delete stuff off there.
Yeah.
You have to snooze it for 30 days.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why?
I don't want to see this content. I don't want to see this content. And that's really all but then about a week or two later, it starts popping up again.
Yeah,
So.
that's why I'm definitely I'm snoozing this for
Yeah.
30 days. Snoozing. I'm going through there doing that
All
all
the time. So check out my book if you don't mind. Type in Matt Seeber on Amazon, or you can type out the title of the book. It's just $10 on Amazon. If you've got Kindle or some other reading device, you can get it for less than $2, I think, and it's worth it. I mean, if you want to read a quick little book,
it's worth it.
I tried to make it something that's easy to understand, and just giving out different ideas of what people think these things are.
Yep.
And that's all it is. It's for somebody who don't really have a good idea one way or the other.
Right. Shares
a little bit of my childhood, a little bit of my history, just growing up in East Tennessee as a kid in a small community. It's just, it brought back a lot of good memories for me making it as well. So we're just a ordinary bunch of people out in the sticks. So
Trying to talk like Jason.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeehaw.
That's right. But yeah, I appreciate y'all having me. I always like to be here.
We love having you here,
Yeah.
and anytime you want to come.
Oh yeah, we're going to have to do it more often.
Yes.
I mean, it's been at least a year, right? So,
Yes. It's been a long time.
So yeah,
And there wasn't many glitches.
yeah. The lights didn't go out. We didn't hear the helicopters flying over.
Yeah.
Not
It
bad.
was the internet.
Right.
Yeah.
So I guess they've gotten used to it now.
I
Huh?
think so. They
Yeah.
figured we ain't going away.
Yeah. Or we're not a threat.
That's it. Yeah. Yeah. Well, they're coming out with the UAP thing now. So.
Yeah. People are ignoring it. Oh, I did, by the way, I did tell, after this started happening with the UAPs, I told Tim Burchett it was time to open up Bigfoot. He just laughed at me.
Nuh-uh, did he really?
He did.
We're wanting to
He's
have
not-
him on the show.
Wow. Maybe.
He's done a lot of podcasts.
Now I can maybe
Yeah?
do that. Yeah, I'll just have to talk to him.
Good.
Yeah.
Tell him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'd love to have you on. I mean, however he wants to come on. I mean, I'm sure it'd be over the internet and stuff
Yeah.
like that. But,
Yeah.
but
He is
We
one to
would
talk
love-
to nowadays. Now he really is.
Yes.
You know, I met
He's
him
been
when he
on
was.
a lot. I've watched him on a lot of podcasts.
I mean, I met him when he was Knoxville mayor, Knox County mayor, and great guy. I think a lot of him. I mean, even if he is a politician.
Yep.
But
For a politician, he's a
yeah,
good one. Huh?
he seems like he's on the up and up.
Yes.
But he's a real nice guy, and yeah, if I can, I don't think it would take any convincing. So yeah, I'll shoot him
in
in.
a card.
No, what I'll do is I'll ask him if it's okay for me to send you his phone number.
Yeah.
And if he says yeah, I'll send it to you and you can give him a holler. But I've got his office phone number in Knox
Tell him I
County.
voted for him.
Okay.
I really
I'll
did.
do that.
Just let you know, I did vote for him.
Yeah. Yeah.
When I just voted, I voted for him. He was on the ballot.
Yeah.
So
Cool. So yeah, I'll see what he says.
It's actually a guy that talks about aliens and
Oh, yeah.
voted for him.
Yeah. He's highly interested in the Dennis Martin case
Yeah.
with the Bigfoot thing. Yeah. So
Oh, that's interesting.
he was pretty young when that happened. And I think it stayed with him all his life. So
So is he from Knoxville?
I think all his life he's been in East Tennessee.
Wow,
yeah.
so it would have hit him hard then.
Yeah.
Because,
Yeah.
Wow,
For real. Yeah.
that's interesting. I have to get all the way into that.
Yeah. Be a good conversation.
Yeah.
So he's a good talker.
I like listening to him, and he is very country.
Oh yeah.
Jason thinks he's country.
We might have a good
He's-
conversation.
He's country. He is country.
Yeah.
He'll be sitting up there talking, and I'm like, oh my Lord, he just said that.
Bunch of nonsense.
Yeah. This jibber jabber, and I mean, he'll just sit there and say stuff, and I'm like,
He'll say it like it is. That's for sure.
wow. That's awesome,
All
though.
right.
Thank you
Matt
guys.
Seeber.
Appreciate it.
Mr. Matt Seeber, East Tennessee Bigfoot. Check him out. He's the man, the myth, and the legend. He's been everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
I've been everywhere, man. That's Matt Seeber. So, well, I was going to say something before we went to that.
Go ahead.
Just a little something. Next week, like we said earlier, we're gonna have a show on Tuesday. We're not gonna have one on Thursday. Saturday, Jason.
Yeah.
We're gonna have a show Saturday. Okay, so we're gonna have a show. You heard it live right here. He said yes. Now he's bound to it. We are gonna have a show on Saturday, but you know, everybody. Like I said earlier when we went to a break, you know, this is the time to be thankful. But this shouldn't only be the time that you're thankful. You know, you should wake up every day thankful that you woke up. Make sure that you tell the person next to you that you love them, because you never know. Crazy things happen every day, and you may not see them again. And that goes for everybody that listens. And we appreciate everybody and love everybody that's out there. And thanks for listening. And I just wanted to say that because, you know, just needed to be said.
It was on your mind.
It was there. It's been on my mind all day. It's weird. I was driving today, and that very thing popped in my mind that I needed to say that today. So I'm just making sure I say it. So now we could end the show.
Good job.
Thank you.
Ditto.
Jason said ditto.
Yeah. All right, now it's time.
Yeah. We will, Wendy. Anytime you want to come. Absolutely.
And Matt is the bomb.
Yes, Matt is the bomb. Remember, you can find us at paranormal411.org, paranormal411 on Facebook, YouTube, and X. You can tune in live every Tuesday and Thursday from 7 to 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Also on Saturdays from 8 to 10. Remember, Saturday nights from 10 to 11, if you're in the metro Atlanta area, you catch us on WDJY-FM. That's 99.1 FM. And for listeners outside of Atlanta, that is WDJYFM.com, or you can click the link on our website at paranormal411.org. We're also on Subspace Radio and all major podcast platforms. Don't miss the book, East Tennessee Hauntings and Lore, Edition 2. It's available on Amazon or at paranormal411.org. Join us. Join us, Jason.
Join us. See you next time.
Have a good night.